I'm sure many of you are aware of how to clock a front axle on a C24. And I'm probably telling everybody, and they're just like, yeah, we know. For those who don't, you can take the Injora links. Well, you can take any link you want. And I use the 58s on the bottom side, and then in the past I've used just the 39s on the top, and it gives the servo a pretty aggressive caster angle. On the first incarnation of this, I used the 58s on the bottom and the 51s on the top, which pushed the servo to a negative caster angle instead of a positive, or I guess more of a positive instead of a negative. I guess negative would be back. So I prefer a pretty good negative caster angle for a lot of uphill stuff, you know, that's kind of common in comp rigs. So what I did was took the 39mm links, and these new Injoras, they've been out for a while, but they have threaded rod ends. And you can do this with any threaded rod end one that you want, any out-of-the-box one, if you're not custom building links. And you can take those 39mm and thread them out, and you can almost see it there. There's a couple gaps in between the rod and the rod end now, but I stretched them out to 46.5 on both of them on the top side. I used two 39s, and I pushed them out to 46.5mm and rebuilt it. And it gave the servo, at the servo itself, if I were to really measure it, would probably be a 3 to a 4 degree negative caster angle now. So it definitely rolled the axle back a little bit better. So it gives it a little bit more of an aggressive uphill steering capability. So next upgrade for this will be definitely a higher powered servo, and really thinking long and hard about trying to pull the trigger on a set of Super 8s for this. I think it's just time to invest in a set of those. I wouldn't mind getting 2 sets, but that's just not something I can do right now. I can barely even scratch enough together to get 1 set. So that might happen for this, because I kind of think it's going to need it. And so other than that, it's holding together really well. Just kind of messing around, doing a route that I hadn't really ever been able to do. I've tried it a couple times, I think, with like the hard part rigs and the Alpha 24 stuff, and while they made it up into this spot, they never were able to actually pull it up, like you just saw in the previous clip. So I decided to see if I couldn't make it back down, and I've been just endlessly impressed with how this thing drives. I like it a lot. It seems very well balanced, very well planted. It does a couple, that was sort of unpredicted, but I was going to say it doesn't really do too much that's unpredicted. Like it's got a really nice controlled slide coming up here in a second as soon as all the gearing catches up. As soon as I know what's going on, I pretty much decide that, yeah, it's gonna let go. But this is one of the reasons why I like slowed down video, so I can see what's happening, so I can get an idea of what things are doing. Plus I like it. I think it just kind of looks real at the same time I'm playing with an RC car. So never mind the house in the background. If you didn't see that, it would be a different story. Anyway, more rambling. So yeah, this is the tougher part about this. This is the spot that I kind of thought was pretty cool. It's pretty easy to come down and drop into something like that, but this is a pretty overhung rock. These things are kind of set up, they overlap a lot. There's a pretty serious gap right there. You run the risk of getting stuck, you know, pretty easily in between. But this thing, because of the height and everything, there's no way I could stuff the Jeep in this. The Jeep would have never made it down in there. So this is kind of cool because it does just sneak right up and out of it. You can't really tell in this angle, but now that it's rolled back a little bit more, that gives me more clearance at the servo there too. So that doesn't get hung up nearly as much. But it did roll the axle back a little bit. It went from 160mm now to 158mm. It shortened it by 2, which is not a problem. I don't have any issue with that. But fun thing to drive, for sure. I put it right up there with what my comp rigs are capable of, and in fact, I think it's opened up a little bit more territory just because of these tires versus how, I don't know. I think it's center of gravity. I think everything with overall roll stability and stuff like that, body roll stability, is just much better. Got more for this one coming up. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Take it easy.